Just gonna do a little quick shop update. So, threw some paint on the inside of these. That'll be facing the car. I'm not really worried about painting all these parts. They're gonna get some surface rust. This rotisserie was painted in like a stop rust or super anti-rust Rust-Oleum paint stuff that I had, and you can see where I scuffed it. There was rust underneath. So, and you can see where it's flaking and bubbling. And this has been kept inside the shop, so it's not like it's been out in the weather, but Rust-Oleum just doesn't do the trick necessarily. And this was all wire wheeled down before I painted it. Some of it seems to be holding up all right, but these pieces, or these arms, seem to be holding up pretty good. They were painted in a different Rust-Oleum. I think the silver stuff was like a zinc additive stuff, which surprised me that that's what rusted, not this gray. Oh, puppy, what you doing? Tired, huh? Ready to go in. But I'm getting hungry. Been out here since this morning, and it's almost 1 now, and I haven't eaten anything. So these are drying. I ordered some metal tubing from Speedy Metals. I got 1-inch outer with 1/2 inch inner, and I think these are 7/8 outer and 1/2 inch inner. They were supposed to be rollers for these. Well, apparently I don't know math that good, because I don't know, or I didn't quite get the gap I was wanting. I was hoping they would fit pretty close up to keep this from shimmying back and forth, because it's got gap. I couldn't get the bolts a whole lot closer and still be able to hit the welds. So I gapped them out a little ways, not thinking about the play of the shaft when I made this thing. Tried to get them all square. I think the bottom one down here's got a little more gap than the others. But anyways, in my genius of thinking, one of the rotisseries uses essentially the next size up pipe, kind of like how I'm doing the slip joints with the 1/2 inch difference, because this is like I don't even want to quote what size is 3/16 wall, I think. So it's just under 1/4, so it's a fairly snug fit, but it's not a super tight fit. It's still got some play in it, but it allows it to slip together. So most of them use like a U-shaped piece of tubing with like the top cut off, and they use a plate with a bolt in the middle. That's how the CJ-20 one is. I wanted the stronger clamping because I built this rotisserie to be way overkill for what I needed, but better safe than sorry, right? But anyways, in my thinking of these rollers as being my only solution, and after discovering that those are nowhere near going to work out, I was thinking I could use like half one side with these and half the other side with that to make a snug fit, or if I needed to, I could sand it down a little bit. I didn't. Obviously, I underestimated it, and I should have gone way bigger. Like these could have gone with like 2-inch rollers. But I'm not ordering more of this tubing. These two 18-inch lengths were roughly $30 shipped, I think. Maybe a little bit more. So I'm not doing that again. These may come in handy down the road as shims or spacers, especially for different suspension stuff that I have, because I want to say some of the suspension components need to be replaced anyways, because they don't match up quite right, I think, like these here. That's all it is just tubing. But anyways, what I came up with was similar to their design, but mixing in my design. I have these pieces of 3-inch now that I chopped up those wheel extensions. If you watched the other video, they were that, which fit into the leaf spring pocket from back whenever I had the car on wheels with the tripod front end off of a trailer hoist, or a trailer stand, whatever, rolling lift jack thing. But anyways, these were cut off of those, and these two mounted up into the leaf spring shackle area, like right in here. And that allowed the back end to roll. And I had some big pneumatic tires on there. Anyways, I chopped these down because I'm going to use those and weld onto that and attach the top of the arm, and that will allow my lift. And that'll also allow the thread to have a little bit of rock play if the threads don't line up. That way they won't bind. But I have those pieces of scrap now. Now those, I came to the decision that I'm going to remedy my roller issue. I'm going to split these, well, probably half them for one of them. I'll probably cut one in half. That'll be one for the one rotisserie, one for the other side. And then I'm going to split it, probably with a gap in the middle, because I don't want to have it end up the two ends pinching together ever. So I want to have a gap. So I'll seam this down, all the way down it. The back side and front side, I will attach here. Actually, I only need to use one. I don't need a front side. I just need the back side to keep this from shimming back and forth. So essentially, it'll sleeve in like this, and I will weld the top, sides, bottom, and I may even drill 2 holes in the back and plug weld just for added measure. I don't think it's gonna be an issue because it's gonna be clamping force. It's not actually holding any weight or anything. This is still gonna apply the clamping force. That's literally just to keep it from sliding left and right. But that's gonna be my solution for these. I wish I had thought of it before I ordered this crap and cut them up. So I could have at least used them later on for something else, possibly, if I needed the longer lengths. But, oh well. Mistakes were made. So I ground this off too. This will be the bottom for the threaded rod. I'll drill the threads out of this, and this will act as a pocket, essentially, for the rod to sit in. And I'll probably put a plate of some sort on the bottom, so it'll sit a little higher, and the plate at the bottom will act as a buffer off of this tube, so it won't tear this up necessarily with the weight of it. It'll just be added support, essentially, for that that rod to press on, because the rod is going to act like a jack. It's going to push down on this and pull this up. So that'll sit there. I ground this down. Back the camera off so you can see shit. But I ground this down, sandblasted it. This will fit here and be welded on. And I don't know what I did with my springs and such, but I bought some springs I have to find that'll have this arm here. Granted, this bolt is overkill, but you get the idea. So I'll make a little standoff back here somewhere. There'll be a spring in the middle with like a, I think they're called bearing collars or something like that. They're just little round rings with an Allen screw that locks it in place. But it'll be sprung to where you can pull this back, and it'll have a T on this back section here, where you can pull it back, turn it, and it'll have something to rest the T on that'll lock it back. And then you can rotate wherever you need to, get it in place on this on these teeth. Hit that T up off the lock mechanism, and it'll spring back in and lock in place. And that'll hold it in place for me to go and secure these safety nuts. But that is the next on the agenda. Of course, I have to grind the whatever coating this is off of these grade 8s. Sadly, I have to use grade 8s for this. It's overkill for this junk. But they didn't have anything that would work. The only thing I could possibly maybe use would be something like this, but I don't think that's even big enough. I wouldn't trust it not to bust out of the side of that. I'm pretty sure this thing is like 3/4. Oh, it just barely fits it. So yeah, that's not a, if I drilled the threads out of that, it would just barely sit inside of that. So I won't be doing that. But anyways, that's I think that's all I have to show right now. I finished welding that nut just now that I forgot the other day, and the rears are mounted back here. as you can see, that's how they'll sit. It's not tightened down, I know, but they're in there. This will lift up, mount the rotisserie, and this side is really close to that valance. It's not a game killer if it pushes on that, but I tried to make it where it wouldn't. I think that's roughly flat, so I think it'll be okay. Depending on the angle it sits at once it gets lifted to hit zero balance. I know, puppy. We're calling it a day. But all right, guys. Thanks for watching. I didn't make the weekend mounted to rotisserie like I hoped for. I've been hitting snags and roadblocks here and there, and I guess I could have worked a little bit more than I did. But I'm exhausted. I'm tired of working on it this weekend. It's been going on since Friday or Saturday, and it's Tuesday now. Took off work so I could work. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.